We're going over the differences. We're going over the real differences, the hard-hitting facts about this controller, Scuff Impact, the one I currently use. This controller, Scuff Instinct, the one I tried. We're gonna go over the differences between that and this, the Scuff Impact and the Scuff Instinct, and this bad boy, which I'm not sponsored by, but I used to use in the past. Elite with no paddles. So who knows? Let's get it. Let's talk about it. So for me, let's get into why I use the Scuff Impact. You know what I'm saying? The reason I use the Scuff Impact is because of the touchpad. I used to play PS4 controller. I used to play Xbox, so I used the Elite. And then I switched to this bad boy because of the touchpad. And I claw touchpad like this when I play. I use interact like that and reload and everything like that, like a little freak. Main differences is the touchpad. I think that's mostly it. Obviously, the stick on the PS4 controller is down. The left stick's down here instead of up here. The Xbox Scuffs are all like high left stick, and the D-pad just in place of it. I think this is a much smoother and easier to press. Like, some people don't agree, and obviously it's all preference. I think this is like really easy to press. I have digital taps on both of these. I think it's super easy to press on these. Like, it's smooth. It's like you roll your finger off. And on the Xbox, not that it's uncomfortable at all, a little bit more of a incline, and it goes up instead of like flat, and it like kind of just, my finger just doesn't really roll off it as well. Not that it's bad or anything, it's definitely really good. This is a new controller too, and has digital taps, which is incredible. Xbox controllers have never have digital taps before, which means this is crazy, because I've been asking for Xbox controller to have digital taps for a long time, but that was before I used my touchpad. I probably would have switched to this controller had I not started using my touchpad for interactive reload, to be honest. Okay, so this controller, the Elite, heavy. This is a heavy controller in comparison to both of these Scuffs. I mean, this thing is like, this thing weighs a ton. I feel like it's heavy. So if you like your controller having weight, that's fine. The joysticks are definitely pretty different as well. They don't really move. Like, it feels like there's metal in there, if that makes sense. Like, it moves like real, like metallic. Like you move it around, you can feel it like hitting the corners. It's heavy. It's not bad, not a bad thing. I used to love this controller. I used to use a high stick on my right stick, and I'd play these, obviously elites. This isn't even Elite 2, this is Elite 1. Elites don't have digital taps. You can obviously put these things up, these little like two things, and then it becomes like, these aren't with trigger stops, and then these are now with trigger stops, and that's as far as it goes. That's the best trigger stop they have on the Elite, at least for the Elite 1. I don't have the paddles, and the paddles kind of rest right here. Like, you use your 4 fingers right there, and I actually think that's really good, because it forces you to use all 4 of your fingers, which is good. I think that's a good thing, to be honest, because in comparison to those paddles, which use your fingers like this, they kind of are natural. The current Scuff I use is like this. So you kind of have to have a certain type of hands. Like I said, I use 2 fingers on my left hand, and they sit like this, and my right hand kind of goes in between. I used to think I could try this, and I think I could with my right hand too, but low key, it kind of, I think it'd mess up my aim. I think it'd mess up my shooting hand, so that's why I don't play like that. So I use my middle finger on my right for both paddles, moving in between, and I go like this with my left hand. So, I mean, at least a great controller. The reason I switched to this is because I switched from Xbox to PS4 3 years ago. I switched to this because I needed a controller with paddles and when I was switching from Call of Duty back in the day before Fortnite even came out. So I switched to this, knowing I needed to get a PS4 controller with paddles, and I waited like 3 weeks for it to come. The reason I picked the Impact over the Infinity, which is like the normal PS4 shape back in the day, is because I thought this shape of the Impact better resembled this Scuff, or the Elite, sorry. Like, the shape is a lot closer to an Xbox controller. That's why I use the Impact. I have bigger hands, so like, obviously, like, if you have bigger hands, you might want to use a bigger controller. Like, I prefer the Impact. I like the shape of it better than a normal PS4 controller. Like I said, no PS4 controller like Scuff is fine. It has 2 paddles though, and I use 4 paddles, so mainly that's the main reason. The stick placement, I think it doesn't really matter. Triggers, I don't really think matter too much. The biggest thing for me is touchpad, like I said, because I do use it. So if I were to switch to an Xbox controller, like the new Instinct, I have no touchpad, so I technically lose out on a button entirely. I could obviously use like this, but like, I wouldn't want to use my thumb because I don't want to take my thumb off the joystick at all, and I couldn't claw that. It's really awkward. I don't claw at all, really. These paddles are definitely interesting. These are the brand new paddles they came out with, and it's definitely an interesting concept. Kind of awkward, but it's definitely usable. I feel like hitting the outside one is amazing. Like, I think these 2 paddles are incredible. I think these outside paddles are crazy. The inside ones where you kind of lose me a little bit with this, to be honest. You almost have to like push your finger like this way, if that makes sense. Like, I'm pulling here, and then you have to like push out. And it's not that it's bad. Like, I used it for a little bit and it was completely fine. It's kind of weird to me, and I think you could absolutely get used to it. Don't get me wrong. Like, if I used an Xbox controller, this would probably be the controller I tried first. And if I didn't like it, then the next one I get would be the Prestige, because I think the Prestige is this. Or I just switched to an Impact, to be honest. But in my eyes, I think the Impact's still the superior controller because of the paddles. But like I said, Xbox controllers, everyone knows this. You guys might not know this, may or may not. Xbox controllers have less input delay and Xbox controllers have less input delay overall because Microsoft and like PCs or whatever. So they have just, people might disagree with this, but I know it's a thing. Like Xbox controllers have always had less input delay when connecting to a PC. So that's why I've considered switching to a Prestige. A Prestige is basically a Scuff Impact without the touchpad, same shape and everything, same paddle shape. So if you want this, but you play an Xbox controller and you want slightly better input delay, I would just use the Prestige. It's like the exact same controller. Issues with the Prestige in comparison to this though, Scuff Impact has trigger stops, Prestige does not. Like I said, the Instinct is the first controller to, I know I'm all over the place in the video, so I'm sorry. The Scuff Instinct is the first controller to use trigger stops as an Xbox controller. And these are honestly super comfortable. Like I feel like this is solid. If you want to get used to this, like these are really nice. Obviously you don't have to use them if you want to like put this thing down or whatever. How do I do this? If you want to push this little bar over, then it becomes like a fully functional controller if you like that. Incredible. It's really nice, honestly. I like it. Like I said, I would give this controller a try over the Elite. And that's not just because I'm sponsored by Scuff, because I think in my last video I made about Scuff, people were like replying saying like it's because he's biased, like he doesn't want to mess around with Scuff. But I said in the video multiple times that like I do not like this controller compared to my Impact, but that's just my preference. Like, and I wouldn't use it. So I mean, I'm gonna talk as much as I'm gonna talk about whatever I want. Like if I don't like something about Scuff or something about something, just because they're my sponsor doesn't mean I'm not gonna bash those certain things, because I have to be honest. Like, I want to be honest with you guys. So yeah, like I said, if I were to go with one, me personally, because of the touchpad, I go with the Impact, and I don't see myself changing. I'll probably use the Scuff. I'll probably use the new Scuff PS5 controller if it has 4 paddles. If it doesn't, I'll probably just stick with the Impact if I can. I really do like the shape of this. I know we're in a game, maybe. I really like the shape of this controller. That's like perfect time. If you guys enjoyed the video, leave a like, subscribe. Peace.